So another travel around the world with wine, with the world wine guys, the world famous friends Mike Desimone and Jeff Jenssen from the USA. Welcome, Mike and Jeff.
Yes, I'll take that. Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you.
We're at a beautiful beach resort today, and it's a really nice day out.
Yes.
And so we're very grateful to those of you who have decided to come and spend your afternoon in a dark auditorium rather than going to the beach. So thank you all for being here.
We hope we'll make our 10 minutes fun for you. So we have the best job in the world. We are so honored and so blessed to do something that we love to do. We get to travel around the world. We get to drink wine. We get to taste wines. We taste more than 7,000 wines a year. So our job is hard, but we do it so you don't have to. That was a joke, but anyway. We're going to start a little bit. I can work the clicker, right, Edward? All right.
So we decided, rather than just coming and talking about our book, that we would just give a little bit of history. We're from the United States. Many times when we meet people, especially around the world, we're judges for a global competition, Concours Mondial de Bruxelles.
And we have other judges here too, we see.
Yes, I know that Per is a judge as well. And I know that sometimes we meet people, they actually say to us, like, I don't like American wine. And American wine it's an extremely large category. We talk about America, we're talking about 2 continents, many countries, and so we just wanted to talk a little bit about, since we're here in Portugal, which is one of the great exploring nations of the world, we wanted to talk about how wine grapes got from Europe to the New World.
Right, so we're just going to give a little bit of an introduction here. So we come from a very small island off the east coast of North America. You may have heard of it. It's called Manhattan. But we do spend a lot of our time in the south of Spain in a beautiful town with 20,000 people. It's called Nerja. It's in the province of Malaga. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. Oh,
do you want to take this and I'll take that?
Yeah, you're shorter.
That's kind of low.
Okay, yeah. Mike's shorter, so he can get that one. So
you know, nobody noticed till you said that.
Exactly.
They had no idea I was shorter than you.
Exactly. So here's a fun little video that we use. We do a weekly video series where we promote 3 wines that we think are, wonderful that week. So it's just fun. It's a little bit, we uncork your world. You can find us on Facebook. Every week if you just go to our World Wine Guys page. We are very proud, we talked about this yesterday, in 2014 our book Wines of the Southern Hemisphere won Best Wine Book in the US, so we were very honored by the Gourmand International and the Cointreau family.
So then after that, we wrote a book called Wines of California, which actually did extremely well in the US. Unfortunately, the wines from California don't get exported a lot around the world, or at least the really great ones don't. And however, it did so well in the US that the publisher, we actually did a second edition, called Wines of California Deluxe. We changed up the style a little bit. It was less text heavy and more photos, because that was written in 2014, and that was really the time that people started to move from printed material to online, and we were finding out that text heavy books were being replaced by photo heavy books in the world.
So the publisher put up a couple extra dollars and we got 4 colors. So very nice, instead of 2 colors, black and white. We're very proud of this award that we got for red wine, and yesterday we were extremely honored to receive an award for white wine. So thank you again, Edouard and Florence and the whole Cointreau family. We're very, very honored. So we are the wine editors at Robb Report. We've been, actually we got a promotion, so we're considered the wine editors. But
we got promoted to the global wine editors.
At our last, it was the Golden Vines Award in Madrid, we got introduced as the global wine editors. And that sounds really good, but it doesn't mean they pay us anymore. It just means that we get to write all of the wine stories, and then they're translated into French and Spanish and every other language around the world. We were just at a hotel in Singapore at the Marine Sands, And we found a copy of our magazine. Actually, it was in Mandarin. And then there was, when we went to in Dubai, we found it in Arabic. So kind of nice to see our articles written in other languages.
It would be nice if they paid us again when they translated them, but that's a whole other story.
Well, that's the title. It's
but you know,
global.
one of the cool things, and I know we want to get into talking a little bit about wine. One of the cool things about working for a magazine like Robb Report, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a luxury magazine. And so there is a watch editor, there's a yacht editor, there's a real estate editor, there's a private aviation editor, there's a fashion editor. So all of those things I just mentioned are extremely expensive. Even the most ridiculously expensive wine that we can write about, just about anyone who reads the magazine can afford to buy that. So we actually are the most democratic of all of the editors on that masthead.
That's right. It makes us feel good to be able to write it. Because let's face it, you know, everyone wants that $50,000 watch or that $2 million airplane. But everyone can kind of afford a $100 bottle of wine for a special occasion. So it does make us very democratic. But we're going to talk a little bit and teach a little bit now and present how did wine come to the New World. So we just had some people talking about Mexican wine a few speakers back, and it actually did come through Mexico, and we'll kind of go through this history now. So who brought the first grapevines and where were the first vineyards in America? So we all know Cristoforo Colombo or Cristobal Colon, or Christopher Columbus. We think he was an Italian explorer, but he was hired by the Spanish.
But
DNA
other people say he
might be
could possibly have
Portuguese.
been Portuguese.
Right.
But we know he was sponsored by Queen Isabella and King Fernando of Spain to find a route to the east. And he departed Spain from the Guadalquivir River from Sevilla out to the Atlantic Ocean.
So he was the first European, theoretically, to go to the New World.
The first one to document it, anyway.
The first one to document it, yes, plant the flag. So Christopher Columbus, this is him, very dapper in his conquistador uniform. And his wines, the wines he brought on his ship were probably some Italian wines, because wines made from grapes in Italy, northern Italy, were consumed in 1492. And he also probably had some Tempranillo wines on his boat, but we have seen some archival evidence that
they know for sure that he had sherry on the boat.
Right.
So
we went to Tempranillo here, just for little pictures. People like pictures, and Sangiovese. So he probably had these two red wines on board, but he also had an Albariño. So Albariño, if you haven't had it, you can also have it here in Portugal. It's called Alvarinho with an H. And it's a lovely white wine. Albus is Latin for white, but you all know that. And Albariño and Alvarinho are the same grape.
So the grape, so actually we talked about what wines they brought that they had in barrel. The conquistadors also brought over grapevines from Spain because, of course, they had plans. They were going to convert the local people to Catholicism. They were going to build churches. And when they built churches, they needed to plant grapevines to make wine in order to have wine for the sacrament of communion. So the grape that they brought over goes by 3 different names. It's called País, also known as Mission grape, and also known as Criolla. And that actually is the grape that Pisco is made from. So if you've had Pisco from Peru or from Chile, a lot of that grape goes into that production. Although there has been a return in about the past 20 years to start making fine wine out of that grape as well.
It's always been a mystery to me why they didn't bring Tempranillo or bring, Sangiovese. They brought País. I don't know why. So anyway, Hernan Cortez, a few years after Columbus in 1520, went to Mexico, and then he also traveled down to Peru. It was called the Viceroyalty of Peru. And in 1557, we have some early conquistadors showing up a few years later, and they brought vines to make sacramental wines. Wine has always been made either for the Catholic Church or against the Catholic Church.
Well,
So-
meaning that wine that was brought, either the Catholics brought the grapes themselves, or in the case of South Africa and Australia, you had Protestants, either
Religious
the
persecution.
Huguenots from France had to go to, when they were not allowed in France anymore, went to South Africa and planted grapes there, and also the Barossa Valley. The Prussians who went there were also driven out.
Correct. But it wasn't until 1851 that French varieties, what we call French varieties or international varieties, actually came to the New World, to Chile and Argentina in the 1800s. So Hernan Cortés is known for bringing the priests and the grapevines over. This is a bust of him in the Los Archivos de las Indias in Sevilla. If you get a chance to visit, it's really pretty stunning. So the conquistadors and their Catholic priests are the one who planted vines.
These are just some photos of vineyards of Argentina.
Right, and here's some beautiful photos of vineyards of Chile. And then, who doesn't love the Andes? This is the Andes in the summertime, or actually going into the fall. You can see that the leaves have changed color. But this is one of the most impressive sights in the wintertime. This water, the Mapuche people, the indigenous people of Argentina, learned how to funnel this snow, this runoff, to irrigate their vines.
So the series of small canals that actually were dug in the 15th century by the natives are still used today by the wine producers. They still use those exact same canals, and they start large up in the mountain and they get very small. They're like they're just a few centimeters wide when they get into the vineyards, but they still use them. I know I can. I see that we're out of time.
So, little fun dancing in the vineyards in Chile. Oldest winery in the Americas is in Mexico, as the couple said before. It's called Casa Madero in Palos de la Fuente. And California, how did they get up to California? California was thought to be an island. And of course, if you know any Californians, they still think they live on an island. But California was based on the word Khalifa, which is Arabic for leader or ruler.
So just like they did in South America, the Catholic missionaries first brought vines to California. The first California vineyard was planted at Mission San Bruno near modern-day San Francisco in 1683.
And we have Father Juniper Serra, who is actually...
Who has been,
he's
been canonized.
I think he's a priest now, yeah.
He is a saint.
He was a priest, now he's a saint. Just a little quick history. Over 4,000 wineries in California. If California was a country, it would be number 4, because it would be behind Italy, France, and Spain in wine production. And we're just going to work to get this finished so we can all go have a little glass of wine or a cup of coffee. And as they say, the rest is history. Look at what California's doing now. It's pretty amazing. So this is because the missions brought the grapes to the Americas, into Mexico, down to Peru, down to Argentina, down to Chile, and then up to California. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you out there.
Now it's time for an aperitivo, I think.